League.
No broadcaster version of that one, I can tell you that.
Tatman, that's you again. That's Tatman money in a P5.
Entourage with planes.
Exactly. That's impressive.
It was pretty cool.
It is
pretty cool.
That's wicked. So Chad Kelly, great conversation coming up at the bottom of the hour as he gets to start for the Argos. And I like this story. I mean, this was a guy who had high expectations, didn't work out, and has found himself with the Argos. And that's a classic CFL type story.
Bloodlines too, right?
Yeah,
Like that's
Uncle Jim.
Uncle Jim. So you get a guy that has expectations, and then you live up to him, you get your opportunity, and now he does. So he's got his opportunity. Let's see if he can seize it here and have a great season for the Argos.
That must have been a bit of a struggle, right? Having your dad with that limelight or that shadow cast over you, and then sort of falling.
Yeah, the uncle. Yeah,
but the uncle story falling out of favor with the NFL, and now you find yourself in the CFL.
It is hard when you have a famous name and a famous uncle, and then they're drawing.
I don't know. I've got nephews and nieces that don't seem to be bothered by it.
What are you talking about? Can you imagine them talking about my famous Uncle Jim Tatti?
I'll have to, next time I see them, which will probably be in a couple of days, I'll have to ask them.
That's
not like me to say that.
They're going to ask, say, why did that one host say that you dance in your underpants all the time? That's the first thing they're going to say.
I have nephews that would say, this is my famous uncle, and I tell them to get lost. But,
you should.
Yeah.
I mean, you should embrace it. You're like the mayor of Hamilton. Aren't you?
No, I'm not the mayor of Burlington because she's really a good mayor. So I'm not even going to claim that.
But I'm saying one of the most recognizable faces in that area.
See, that's not for me to say. Like, I recognize myself because I know what I look like. But if somebody else, I mean, that's subjective, right?
Hayes tells a story that the one time he drove through Hamilton, there was Tatman just walking down the street, like. How random is that where you look over and there's the one guy you know from that city happens to be just walking down the street.
It's a good thing you hit the brakes.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk baseball. The Jays are weekending in Texas. Gosman tonight against Perez. And a bit of a struggle for the Jays within their own division. Steve Phillips will help us with that. Steve, welcome. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great, guys. Good to be with you.
Our pleasure to have you. So, with that divisional record, I mean, obviously there's plenty of runway, but, with the schedule, a lot of that's going to be solved right at the end. How much of a problem is that?
That's a pretty big problem if they want to win the division. I mean, I know that Tampa Bay's way out in front with this thing right now at 50-22. I mean, they're off to a tremendous start to their season, and they're 31-7 at home, which is just remarkable what they're doing. But yeah, for the Jays to be 7-17 within the division does not bode well for the head-to-head matchups there. Doesn't mean they can't make the playoffs as a wild card team, and it does mean that they can't start to turn those numbers around. But it certainly does have a feel like they're beating up on everybody else at 31-15. And then really struggling within the division. And remember, they were 4-2 after the first two series within the division. So it's been a really dry spell since then for them. And it's something that they need to rally. They need to elevate the level of play when they play within the division, because those head-to-head games are going to matter because everybody in this division is in the mix for the wild card too. And so, it's not just they're battling for the division title. They're battling with these teams for the wild card spots too.
Steve, how are they going to manage their bullpen day on Saturday?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. It looks so critical to get the start from Gosman tonight and to get some innings out of him. Now, he's the guy that can do that, and every time it looked like they were in somewhat dire straits, even the last time before Gosman's last game, he gave him that outing, and then Brios gave him the big outing when they needed it after Bassett's tough start. So they need to get as much protection as they can to give John Snyder the ability to pivot depending upon which way and which direction the game goes in that matchup. And so, whether it's going to be Trevor Richards or Sarah Mazur or somebody starting the game, we'll see. I suspect, with Simeon leading off and Seager behind him, that they probably go right-handed there to start it off with. Plus, you don't want to burn Mazur early in the game. But I think that they're just going to have all hands on deck, and the only way that really works is if Gosman gives them that ability to do that with his start tonight.
Steve, speaking of Blue Jays pitchers, what's the update on Alek Manoah? And we were chatting a little bit off the air about how it's an interesting story. A guy who loses his confidence has to go down and essentially throw a ball across the plate that in his mind doesn't look like a beach ball for the batter. And what does that process look like for a guy like Manoah, and how does he make a comeback and find that confidence again?
Yeah, so this is going to be a lot of side sessions, a lot of side work for him. He'll pitch in games against the lowest of the lowest minor league levels, so the youngest kids, and where he'll be able to make some mistakes and get away with it, which in some way is probably good, just to not further deflate his confidence. But they're not even looking at results right now. They've got to look at the process. He's got to get some feel back for his mechanics. He lost the feel for it. That ability to feel the pace and angle as he goes down the slope of the mound, the speed with which he does it. What he ended up doing is he really looked like he was aiming in his last start, that he just was thinking, okay, here I'm going to throw the ball, now I'm going to let go of it. And pitchers don't do that. They just naturally throw the ball. They don't think about when to let go of the ball. He seemed to lose the feel for things. He lost his confidence. They've got some rebuilding to do. So part of it is mechanical. But part of it is emotional and mental in that, the way he's thinking right now was very defensive. He was thinking about, I need to miss bats. I need to not give up hard contact, so which means I'm going to nibble on the corners. And when you do that, you fall behind 1-0, 2-0, then you're in a position where you got to throw it over the plate. And then you think, okay, let me really throw it as hard as I can right now. Then you muscle up, you rush your body down the slope, you leave your arm dragging behind, and then everything's flat coming out of your hand. And so emotions and thinking can affect mechanics. And so I think they really need to get a handle on why he was out of whack mechanically. What was he thinking? And then they've got a physical component to work on. His upper body got thicker. To me, it looked like a guy who, I've seen players who, hit like 13 home runs and think, okay, in the offseason, I'm going to go lift weights and I'm going to come back and I'm going to hit 30 next year. And they get all tied up, bulked up, and then their swing's lost because they don't have any bat speed because they're all tied up with their upper body and tight. And so he's got to really loosen that up. So there's some part of the high level, performance team that needs to be there to get him loosened up with his upper body and probably, be able to be a little more athletic moving down the pitching rubber in addition to all that other stuff. So this is not a quick fix. This is one where he goes into witness protection and nobody thinks about him, nobody sees him, and then he just reappears somehow to testify when he goes back out on the mound at the big league level.
I like what you said there. I mean, this is almost like a complete redo, and so I guess he has to piece everything back together, understanding that a lot of the parts won't be exactly the same, right?
Yeah, it is a little bit, and I don't mean this pejoratively, but it is a little bit like Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, and you've got to put the pieces back together, and in some ways, it could actually be the best thing that happened to him, because being as big a guy as he is, his joints and his wear and tear on his body could end up taking a toll. So in the long run, this could be a good learning lesson for him to be able to really focus on personal care, the appropriate lifting and weightlifting and the conditioning that he should do. Because a lot of times guys say, okay, here's the program they gave me. I'm going to work really hard on this part of it. And usually what we all do, I mean, this is like Hayes. Hayes sits in the gym and he does curls all the time because he thinks that's the best part of his body. So he doesn't want to work out everything else. And I think, like, when you think about Manoah, he looked like he might have been working on his shoulders because it's the part he likes to do the most. He's got to work on the things that he doesn't like, the core, the bottom half, his balance, his mechanics. And so, this could turn out to be a gift to him, as painful as it's been. And I'll tell you what, the next time he'll come back and he's going to get put back together. I don't know if he'll ever be a top 3 Cy Young Award guy again, but he's going to be a very effective pitcher. But I think the next time he struggles, it won't last this long because he'll have a better sense as to where to go to find the answers with his thinking, with his mechanics, and with his emotions, trying to get all of that put back together.
A lot of work to be done in the gym with our group, but
I know.
Heading in a different direction. The Jays release Anthony Bass, and there's just not a great story, and even the way it's handled is taken a lot of criticism. What do you make of it? And even to the point where the players were saying, like, this has become a giant distraction when we're just trying to win games.
Yeah. So, I mean, the reality is this. The better player you are, the more of a distraction you can be. I mean, that's just a fact.
Right.
And we can't deny that. And so, and because Bass wasn't pitching well, the distraction that he caused, made it easier to part ways with him than if he was Jordan Romano closing the games. I mean, that's the reality of it. Now, I'm not even going to comment on things he said or anything else because it's more about the process of how you manage these things, right? Crisis management.
Right.
And I would say that they probably did, if they had, let's put it this way, if you asked them in a private moment, Ross Atkins and the organization from Mark Shapiro down, they would probably have done it differently if they could do a do-over, right? That it didn't go the way they wanted it to. They were well-intended with some of it. They thought, okay, they did the right thing. Okay, he needs to address it, so they put him in front, but he didn't answer questions. Then when it didn't go away, then they let him answer questions. Then that kind of spiked it up a little bit again. Then they thought, okay, let's make this better by letting him catch the first pitch, which was, I get it. The logic was this will be making amends and showing a sense of peace and acceptance and an apology, but it wasn't going to be received that way. It was going to make Pride Weekend about the guy who seemed critical of it. And it was so, I understand the logic was well intended. It just wasn't thought through all the way. And so, it's you live and learn from it. And again, it is a little bit of a ding on them, the way they handled it. But my guess is that these things come up every once in a while. And I think the next time they'll be better prepared to handle the situation. And for now, Bass moves on. And the question is, will somebody else sign him and give him an opportunity?
Steve, Ohtani's just ripping the cover off the ball. Is this the best hitting he's ever had?
Yeah, I mean, he's leading. He's tied for the major leagues in home runs. He's leading in OPS plus. He's second in strikeouts in the American League. He has the lowest opponent's batting average. He has the lowest opponent's slugging percentage. I mean, this is really unbelievable. He's homered in 10 of the last 16 games. And it really is just amazing what he has done and how he's carrying this team. Mike Trout is not really Mike Trout. The amazing thing is, think about this. Of all of the players in the major leagues, Mike Trout sees more fastballs than any other player at the major league level. Like, you would think that the one thing you don't want to do to Mike Trout is throw him a fastball because of all of, what a great hitter he is. But he is such a low ball hitter that the scouting report is throw Mike Trout fastballs up in the zone, and he either takes them or he can't swing at them because he uppercuts so much that he can't catch up to it. And so he sees more fastballs than any other major league hitter. To me, that's just remarkable. And so Ohtani's carrying the day until Trout can get himself back on track again.
Jumping around the league here, Tampa Bay Rays have a home record of 31-7. Absolutely lapping the major leagues in home record. What can we attribute to this home run? Are they putting something in the visiting team's pregame meal, or what's going on here?
Yeah, I think it's some kind of X-Lax or something they're putting in there, and I don't know what's going on. It's amazing. I mean, here's the thing: the fact that they're doing that, it's not the idea that they've won 31. How did they lose 7 when they've given the other team so much X-Lax? It's hard to understand, right? So they're so confident at home. And, that dome it is a home field advantage because it is the lighting's a little quirky in there. The energy's quirky in there, and they thrive in that ballpark. Everybody seems comfortable in it. And they're 19-14 more regular on the road. But, man, I mean, 31-7 at home. And here's the thing. They've got the best record in baseball, which means at this point, home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs, which for them is a really distinct advantage.
Absolutely.
Steve, thanks very much. Have a great weekend.
Okay, you guys. Thanks very much.
Steve Phillips, our baseball insider. I don't know about X-Lax. I mean, it creates runs, doesn't it?
Look at the tap. Still got it at 6. Still got it at 6:17.
Just getting warmed up.
How long was he sitting there thinking about that?
As soon as I heard X-Lax, the line was there. I didn't want to interfere with Steve. Yeah, the Oakland A's is an interesting story. I mean, look at this team, 19-52, playing sizzling 268 balls. So they have that big rally, the reverse boycott. And what does the commissioner say? Oh, it's great to see a regular season crowd on hand for once.
Well, I know, but it's so weird. Like, I think didn't they lose yesterday, though? I thought that their streak
is over, yes.
But it's such a disaster there. Like, I feel...
Oh, that's
I feel
awful.
bad for guys who are playing there.
Sure,
Like,
there's nothing to win there. I mean, that's just a negative situation for everybody.
And if you're a player on that team, all you're trying to do, I know baseball's a little bit more individualistic. So you're trying to put together any type of season so that another team goes, hey,
we want you.
because if you like if you bottom out on a bad team,
come on.
You're not going somewhere else to a quality team. Like
I think a bad baseball team might be the worst. The most negative situation in all of pro sports, because you've got all 162 games. You're in the middle of June and you've already lost 52 times.
And unless you get plucked by another team, like unless your analytics somewhere, like, okay, there's a little glimmer of hope, another team grabs you, it's just pain all season long. And usually the next step, if you're a player and a big contributor on a really bad team, you're not in the league the next year. Or, you're working your way out of the league.
It's a tough thing. You're in the same city when you're on the road for 3 or 4 days. I mean, you can't escape.
Well, being a ex-player ourselves too.
Right.
Can you imagine losing 52 games and you're not even halfway through the season?
Yeah, it's
like mentally.
It wears on
that grind.
And the thing is you get numb to it to the point where after a game you just jump on the plane or you're like it's.
Which is not a good thing. But it just becomes part of the day-to-day
part
activity.
of the day, we lost, and like you continue on and guys are laughing it up. And
what else can you do?
But it sends a bad message. Yeah. Because if an owner walks in or a coach walks in and you're laughing it up and you've got 50 wins under your belt and you still got half a season left, or 50 losses under your belt and half a season, it almost says to them that they think you don't care, but you do. You're just a bad team.
Yeah.
That's what sucks. So, I don't know. Tough season.
And Kansas City actually has a worse winning percentage than Oakland does, if you can believe it.
That's unreal.
Yeah, both
unreal.
Of them. Yeah.
I think I forgot to do this earlier. Overdrive is brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Coming up next, Chad Kelly, quarterback for the Argonauts. This is Overdrive, TSN 2, TSN 1050. Oh, yes, Guy. Continuing our theme of Mail It In Friday. Jim Tatti, Peter Holland, and Jamie McLennan subbing for O-Dog and Hayesy-B. And this rogue guy, Jimmy T's going to come in in the last segment to just drive this thing into the ground.
That's nothing wrong with that. A little advice laid on a Friday afternoon into the evening.
Jimmy T is really off the cuff. He's not a nice guy.
Oh, yeah?
Pretty wicked.
The different persona.
Yeah.
Sounds like real sound advice is about to come out.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's been around the block.
Is it kind of like where Hulk Hogan turned into like, what did Hulk Hogan do when he dyed his mustache? No, he was like, he became like Hollywood Hogan, like a heel.
Yeah, no, this Jimmy T is a real, if you think I'm rough on you guys, I beat you up. I mean, Jimmy T will spit you out.
Jimmy T's a split personality.
Oh, he's not nice.
Well, we got to get into some sound too, because I heard on First Up they had Steve Spott on. So obviously Spotter was Hazy's coach in minor hockey. And then we had Pete DeBoer on as well when Dallas was in the playoffs. And,
I saw that one.
And O-Dog is buddies with Pete, and Pete's a friend of the show, very well spoken. We love him to death, as well as Spotter. But I don't know if you know the story, Tat, man, is, Hayes does his odds, and he bet against Dallas that night. He said, I can't remember if it was the sharp money or whatever is against Dallas. And apparently the Stars, their coaches were listening in the dressing room. They were watching our show, and Spotter's like, he's dead to us. So we've got the sound. I want to play it.
Absolutely. I would love to have Frankie come back. I know he's still in great shape, so he'd be welcome to come back to Dallas Stars training camp anytime. And unfortunately, I had Hazer as a player back in the day, and also a quality defenseman, but he's no longer welcome to our training camp.
Oh, cut off. Wow.
Just done.
Excommunicated.
Well, I mean, can you imagine you're a friend of the show, you love interacting, all of that. You come on, you spend your time doing that, and then Hayes just torches you when you're literally heading into a playoff game.
Wow.
So, I don't know if there's coming back from that. And I also received a direct message during the break.
Oh.
Should I read it out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I've been listening to your show for 5 years, and I've never missed an episode. As much as O-Dog goes off the board, laugh out loud, I can vouch for him that Tatman did say he listens to his vinyls alone in his white underpants.
Well,
And you guys
first of all,
should definitely have it on record somewhere.
Just a minute. I haven't had white underpants in about 25 years.
They started white.
Yeah, well, no, and I can't remember the last time I had white underpants.
Well, maybe that's just what you said, or maybe O-Dog twisted it.
I think there's something that
there's a lot of verification coming in from fans.
it's social media. There's a lot of stuff on there that is not true.
So it's fake news.
Oh,
That's what
absolutely. Yeah.
It should be flagged. Like, I don't know if Twitter does that where it's fact checking or whatever.
Who wears white underwear?
I don't know.
Hey, my goodness.
A brave soul.
Brave gentleman.
Wow.
Well, maybe people think it's the risky business. You know, when he dances in the living room there, he's got the shirt pulled up, he's got his underpants on,
far be
and
it
he
from-
slides into the living room. That's what I could see the Tatman do.
You know what? Oh, you've seen Ted?
Yeah.
The guy who steals Ted, he steals the bear, and then he's doing that creepy dance in his living room.
Oh no,
Drinking.
guy.
That's
No guy.
that's the
But
image
I have
I'm
to say,
getting.
it wouldn't be the first time I was accused of doing something somebody else did. That never happens to the tap man. Oh no, guy, never.
I
Never, no.
Well, I keep getting verification throughout the afternoon.
Well, of course you have to. I mean,
where there's smoke, there must be a fire.
O-Dog is out there. He's got everybody's cell phone sending you texts. Oh yeah, this is a setup.
No, I'm like these. It's just people that I interact with. Like, it's not. I haven't reached out to them and said, "Tell me a story about the Tatman."
This might be another example of foreign interference. That's all I'm saying.
It's true.
It could be.
Could be messing with the host. They're trying to get underneath your skin, but you've been
good luck.
very poised for the first 2.5 hours.
Well, good luck. If you want to try and get under there, I mean, experts have tried. It doesn't happen.
I love it.
So the Argonauts open their season Sunday night, which is interesting. I just got a text here. I just want to check that out. Oh, yeah. O-Dog's burner accounts. Absolutely. Yeah, see? Yeah, that's it. O-Dog's burner accounts.
Maybe it was O-Dog's
He might be
account
he might be in his own basement in white underwear on burner accounts. That's what it could be.
It's possible. He might be.
I think it's a pretty good possibility.
It is.
We should do an over-under on that.
Yeah. Maybe it's a Dear Jimmy T.
Could be. Argonauts open their season Sunday night against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and this is a heated rivalry, as we all understand. Chad Kelly's the starting quarterback for the Argonauts, is with us now. Chad, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh, our pleasure. And so this is a big launch for the Grey Cup champions. It's a big launch for you. So as you get set to play this game, what's going through your mind? How have you felt this week?
I've felt great. I got a massage today. I got a lot of film work done. I got most of the play call sheet finished. So, I'm feeling really good on Fast Friday, we call it.
Biggest adjustment going from the NFL to CFL?
I would say 12 guys on the field.
Faster.
That's the biggest adjustment. No, I mean, I think there's a lot more complex coverages right down here than in the league. Of course, defenses can do a little bit more, than you've been traditionally aware of, right? And so I think being in the CFL is just a little bit more complex coverage-wise.
The rumor is you spent so much of the offseason working out in Toronto. True or false? Coach Ryan Dinwiddle booted you out of the building to give you a break.
Has he booted me out? No, because I tell him, no, I'm staying in here. But he knows that I've been putting in a lot of work, and hopefully, it shows on the field on Sunday and beyond.
So what was this process like for you? I mean, obviously we remember that you're a big part of the Grey Cup when you came in late in the game and won the Grey Cup, but this is sort of like a reset for you. In fact, in a lot of respects, it's like going back to college football, and I mean, there's some gaps in there. So what was it like in the off season, knowing that you would be the starter?
I think just kind of having a schedule of what I need to accomplish with all the guys, right? Being the backup, you stay ready, you stay focused, and you got to obviously work hard, and you got to help prepare the starter, But I think now that you're being the starter, we got a young group of guys in the quarterback room, so I'm taking on a different different world, really, and I've never really been used to. But, you know, I'm able to communicate with a lot of guys. You know, I got to make sure the line and I are on the same page, what calls we're making. You know, I need to make sure that the receivers are in the right place at the right time, making sure they're, you know, making the right cuts as well and seeing what I'm seeing. So it's just kind of having a schedule day by day, you know, rep by rep to make sure we're all on the same page.
What does it say about the Argos management and coaching staff that the team didn't bring in an older veteran quarterback to back you up?
I mean, it says a ton. Obviously, they know that I've been putting in a ton of work. But, you know, I might be new to the CFL game, but, you know, football is second nature to me. And, you know, I love just being out there, giving it my all. And I think those guys trust what I'm doing and what I've been doing and how focused I am. So, you know, I gotta reward the coaches with making the right decision.
Now, you've said fun a couple of times, so I want to sort of apply it to how the CFL is compared to the NFL, not being in a derogatory sense to the NFL, but this is sort of rejuvenating. It's faster. There's more players. It sort of brings you back, doesn't it, to when you were younger?
1,000%. You know, I look at it as if it's a cow pasture, right? And I got 65 yards of field to work with, and I got a receiver running, you know, full speed right at the line of scrimmage when I say hut, and the DB who's sitting at 8-10 yards away, and he can run right by him, you know, versus man coverage. So, you know, it's almost a quarterback. He's licking his chops versus man coverage. And I know we're going to see a little bit of man, a little bit of zone. We're going to see some zero. We're going to see some quarters. We're going to see, you know, all these different, you know, 3-week cloud and 4-week cloud. We're going to get all different types of coverages, and it reminds me back when I was a kid. You just got to go through your reads and find the open guy, right? Throw to your team.
Being a quarterback and it running in your bloodlines, how often do you get asked about your Uncle Jim?
Oh, I mean, it seems like if not every day, it's every other day, right? And
just tack one on here today.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you're the second one today.
There we go.
How's the adjustment been to Toronto traffic? How you finding it?
Yeah, it's not bad. You got to know when to get on and off the Gardner, to say the least, right?
And I think there's a 15-minute window for that. That's about it. Right?
Good thing I stay late, right?
Well, I mean, you came in at the right time, and obviously, and I mean that even in the Grey Cup game. So you know what it's like to be an Argonaut, and certainly you know what it's like to win the Grey Cup. I mean, that's a great way to launch a career, isn't it?
You know, it really is. And speaking to, you know, people down south, you know, that I've known for a long time now, it's almost like a perfect book writing, and you know, there's so much more to be written in the book, but that is definitely a great way to kind of make your career. Here it goes. It's about to pop off. So I'm blessed.
Well, and you know, you had the bye week. So I mean, that's kind of an odd way to start a season. What did you make of having a bye week to start the season?
Yeah, it was good. You know, I love how the CFL makes a game every day, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, you know, I was locked in. It felt like I was a kid in the candy store waiting to watch the opening game, right? And you know, taking certain things from all these different games and trying to apply it to our game, right? There's so many situations that go on in the CFL just because there's so many different rules and how you can get a point here and whether you can get the ball at the 40 or not, you know. So I think there's just so many things to take away from, and you just try to learn each and every day, and especially with a new season start, you just never know what you're going to come across.
And it is the Tiger Cats. I mean, you understand already that the winner of that series goes on to bigger and better things, and the loser has a rough time. I mean, the Tiger Cats, I mean, talk about double motivation. Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely, if it doesn't give you an extra pip in your step, then you're in the wrong league, to say the least, right? So I think everybody is focused. Everybody's ready to, you know, go out and have fun and obviously show what we can do. And I know they're going to be gunning for us, you know, especially after last week and the way their season went last year. I know they're going to be ready, and, you know, we got to be able to set the tone early.
Chad, thanks very much. All the best this season.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Go Argos.
Yeah, good luck.
Argos.
Is that your chant?
Well, it is when I'm sitting here. When I go home, I'm going to go, yeah, Ticats, yeah.
Oh, so you're, yeah, like you say, you got the sweater.
I know, I just couldn't, I could not. I tried 2 sewing machines to get it to stitch together, and as soon as those 2 jerseys touched, poof, it
just
blew
blows up.
It was like flash paper. It blew up.
Spontaneous combustion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was the smoke alarm went off in the building. It was sad. So that game kicks off at 7. BMO Field Sunday night.
You go into Hamilton, you try and wear an Argos jersey.
Oh, good luck. Good luck.
This fight.
So if that scene where Hayesy-B saw me walking.
Were you in a?
No, if I had an Argo jersey on, I would not have made it through the intersection.
Oh, really?
Somebody would have just rolled in and just taken my knees out.
Exactly. You were the only. The weirdest part is he said it was like it was abandoned downtown. You were the only.
Oh, it was Sunday morning. I think it was Sunday, like at noon, because I used to get my hair cut downtown when I lived there, and so first guy in the barber chair. Sunday at noon, downtown Hamilton. There were maybe 2 of us.
I guess the question would be, why is he driving around?
Exactly. Why am I the story? What's he doing? He's in a car.
Let's flip this on its head real
Why
quick.
is he driving downtown Hamilton?
Yeah, what's the story there?
On a Sunday at noon.
I mean, because I lived downtown for 5 years. I mean, you would expect to see me downtown.
Yeah.
Why he's there is another story.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, I mean, he's a city boy from here, so maybe they ended up on, at a bar late night, left his car and had to go pick it back up. And then he's driving it home and he sees you.
Isn't it interesting how, and maybe if you apply that to O-Dog, how the story sort of goes down one way street. And then when you realize there's a counter to it.
Yeah, but what's the counter to O-Dog saying that you danced in the living room with your underpants?
How would he know that?
He said you. He also said it on air.
We have to go back through the archive. It has to be.
He also said I would tell him to get a burrito, which I've never told anybody to do in my life. I mean, that's just not right.
He does ask for things. I will say that.
Well, he does.
Get me that hat. Get me that. And very generous person, but like I say,
absolutely.
You're doing something, and it'd be like just grab another one for me. But one time, it was like early on when we all started working together. We went to Montreal. The Leafs were playing. I think you were on the team. And it was a Montreal Habs game at the Bell Center. Right. Unbelievable. And we're up in the press box.
Yep.
Now, when you go to the media meal and those Chien Chauds or the hot dogs.
Oh, yeah. That's a great
They
building.
don't allow you to bring them into the press box. So as I went in to grab, he goes, bring me back a hot dog. And I'm like, I don't know if I can't
do it.
Yeah.
So
sorry, the security guy has it.
I was leaving and I stuffed one in the inside pocket. I got a Hugo Boss suit on. I put it in inside pocket.
Lint extra.
And I walked through security. I put it down. He goes, "Where's the ketchup?" I go, I'm not giving you a hot dog.
Ruin your Hugo Boss
exactly.
suit. Yeah.
Where's the ketchup? I'm like, I didn't bring you any. I just brought you a hot dog. And he's like, well, I can't eat it without ketchup. I'm like, I'm not going to get you ketchup.
That is so dog right
that
there.
was him.
That's him.
Right there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Those hot dogs at the Bell Center are something special.
They are, but it's weird. You wouldn't, if it wasn't sold in the Bell Center, you would be like, it's just a boiled hot dog with kind of like a lukewarm bun. But it's unbelievable.
That's got the shaved bun.
Is that what it's called?
Well, the crust is gone.
Yeah, that's fair, but it's just a bit.
It's a different bun.
It is. It's very cool, but I often think like if you took the Bell Center and the reputation out of it, and you bought it on Eglinton downtown.
It's part of the lure.
You'd be like, okay, what is this?
No, if you bought that as street meat walking down Front Street, you'd be really disappointed.
You'd be pissed.
Yeah,
like, why isn't this cooked?
Yeah.
It's just warm, like.
Well, it works at the Bell Center.
It does work.
And by the way, one of the better press spreads for supper.
Yeah.
In the
they
league.
do well there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great setup there.
Big time.
Yeah. I mean, if I worked at the Bell Center on a nightly basis, I would not have to go to the pizza and ice cream bars.
I think they got a good setup here.
They have good, good cookies.
But
good cookies at the Bell Center too.
Sometimes you get the I call it the snack meal. It's like, okay, where's the main course? Because I got to work 4 hours. This is not going to do it.
You don't pack a lunch, eh?
No.
Well,
I've been told to, but I don't.
You just whatever's there. That's why you have 2 ice creams.
Oh, on steak night, I'm a happy man. Even with the wooden fork and knife. I'm a happy man.
You got to be. I mean, now the environment, you got to have the wooden fork. You got to have all of that.
Okay, so Dear Jimmy T is next.
Let's do it.
I can see him from here.
I love it. He's waiting.
Yeah, this is OverDrive on TSN 1050 and TSN 2. Oh, yes, Guy. Welcome to the final segment. Your friend Jimmy T here. Hi, friends. Today's best bets are brought to you by FanDuel. Bet on all your favorite teams using the FanDuel Sportsbook app now. Let's start with the Blue Jays Kevin Gausman is on the mound, so we'll take them in the money line at -154 against the Rangers. Let's also go with under of 9 as the Blue Jays and Rangers game. Well, since both Perez and Gausman are having a good season. And finally, we go to Montreal for Sunday's F1 race, and we go with the no-brainer of taking Max Verstappen to win the race outright. It's brought to you by Boston. No, it's not. It's today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and find thousands of ways to wager. Please play responsibly, 19 and over, physically located in Ontario. Jimmy T is here with you for Ask Jimmy T.
I love it. Look at this get up here.
This is such a good look.
Isn't this something?
There it is. Dear Jimmy T. Well, let's get right into it.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready for this? Okay.
I'm ready now.
Daniel writes in, Dear Jimmy T, Sunday will be my first Father's Day as a new dad. Our daughter will be 3 weeks old. Wife says we should be at home to spend the day as a family, but I always golfed on Father's Day. Spend the day with darling daughter or grip it and rip it?
Keyword is wife says. So, I mean, I could honestly say that you could go golfing, but it's going to be the largest paper cut of your life. It's going to keep opening every week, and before you know it, you're going to have a clot. So I would stay home, or you could get the opinion from, at some point, wife number 2.
Strong finish to that answer, Jimmy.
Where are you at?
I mean, it's your choice.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go one way and get out of it, or it's going to be a mess.
That's tough.
I'm grip it and rip it. Put your peg in the ground and hit your ball.
Nice to know you. I wish you well.
Yeah.
Let me know when the liquidation sale happens. I'll be lined up.
It's tough. Like, the key for me is the word 3 weeks old. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's kind of
old.
an out, but you know, all the social gatherings from now until that child leaves the home to go to school will be, your father, we're 3 weeks old, we're trying to have a family day, and dad goes golfing.
No, usually, like, the first, 3 months after you have a child, like, you don't even come up for air.
Well,
Nonetheless,
I was actually going to go the other way and just say how useless we are as fathers, because there's not much we can do.
We are, but I just feel like you're just sitting there
can't
staring
abandon
at...
ship guy. Not a good
No,
move.
you're
Stay on the
staring at
ship,
the baby
guy.
going, how are we going to keep that thing alive for the rest of our lives? Like, that's how terrified you are driving home even with the baby.
You have now entered the zone of being outnumbered in your own house.
There you go. Exactly. All right. That's a good answer. The NHL commentator goes, Dear Jimmy T, first Father's Day for me this year. Wife wants to take me and the infant out for a nice dinner. With the U.S. Open on the West Coast, it'll be a late finish out this way, and I've got some hefty bets down. Do I PVR it and go for dinner, or do I sweat it out in live time?
Guy, marvelous that in your day you have the PVR. Some of us did not have that luxury, so take the luxury, go out, enjoy yourself, watch it later, and sweat it out that way. Or you could ask wife, too, what she's going to think about it.
That's 2 in a row. You're just loving it. Pete, where are you at?
I agree with you, Jimmy T. I think go out, you take the nice meal, watch it on the recording, and sweat it out that way.
Yeah.
PVR it, just stay off Twitter.
Yeah.
Then you won't get the information. You can go back and watch it.
Get a hold of the concierge or the maitre d' and say, I don't need anybody referring to this event.
And don't go to a sports bar or something where it's on. Or you go to a sports bar and you watch it, and then you got skin in the game, and you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone right there.
You're killing yourself because the other side of the table is going to see where your eyes are. You're dead.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. That's good. Yeah. On to number 3. Joseph Alvino writes in, Dear Jimmy T, I also enjoy listening to my vinyl collection. However, I mostly wear boxers.
Oh.
I feel like I'm missing out on the full experience. Should I go tighty-whitey briefs? And if so, what shirt are we sporting? Shirts or skins? Please help. So he's saying like just tighty-whiteys, no tarp, maybe the socks pulled up. I don't know.
I'm not an expert on this. I've never done this.
You are an expert. He's saying that's the key word. I also enjoy listening to vinyl in my tidy whities.
Okay, turn the camera off. I gotta say,
no guy.
I gotta say, the boxers is certainly an upgrade. So that other reference to the whiteys and no boxer reference sort of negates the validity of that story. In this particular case, I would say, why do you need a shirt? And boxers are the way to go.
just pro barrel hanging out if you want it, and
Gotta air it
no
out.
touches.
I can truthfully say that I have no experience in this category, so you're on your own with this one, Jimmy.
Man, oh man! See, I didn't know. What was your answer again? Like just,
Boxers.
Yeah, why?
Boxers,
he said,
no tarp.
He said, "Why the shirt?"
Yeah, why the shirt? Okay, I love this. That's great
If you're in
advice.
boxers, do you need a shirt?
Zero
Come on, what is
experience
that?
with this as well. I mean, we're deferring to you. You've been there and done that. So.
Well, no, I did not say that part.
Oh, well. Do we have time for this last one?
got one more.
Okay, quick one.
Well-
Chris writes, Dear Jimmy T, I've had an extremely stressful and busy week hosting a work conference all week and leave for a week-long golf trip tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Haven't seen the girlfriend, but I'm exhausted and need to pack, and girlfriend wants to hang out before I leave. Is there any way to have a night to myself?
Absolutely, Chris. Dig in. This is a girlfriend. There's no obligation. there's always another one.
Holy smoke.
Girlfriend
after-
number 2 is a lot easier
Yeah.
than wife number
Look after
2.
yourself while you can. So
The Tad Man, or Jimmy T, on fire. I love it.
I think the Tat Man warned you that could be the case.
All right.
Unfiltered. So we didn't need to bleep, or we didn't need to hit the delay switch. And a lot of these people just have to understand the ramifications of your decition.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want, but there's a price to pay for it, right?
Oh, you hit the nail
nailed
on
it,
the head.
buddy.
It's
Exactly.
unbelievable. And on that note, we have to do this. And I still don't see any product here. Mail It In Friday brought to you by Boston Pizza. Weekends are better with fish bowls and frosty pints on the BP patio. Grab your sunscreen. Let's have a weekend. See you on the BP patio. And again, if you're a dad, you have obligations. So
Yeah.
you could golf later in the day. Maybe maybe you do a half and half.
You could swing both ways. It's not a big deal. You could figure it out. That's the way I would do it. So
Yeah.
honestly, Tat Man, you nailed it out of the park.
Thank you very
nailed
much.
Thanks
it
for
out of the
having me,
park.
guys. This
Yeah.
was a
All
blast.
Dominated. today
Every
in the
show's a
middle chair.
tryout.
You're on Yes Guy tomorrow at 12 noon.
I
on
will be
TSN
there,
1050.
yelling and screaming.
And
It'll
Peter
be
will be on in the next week or two.
awesome.
Everybody else have a great weekend.